Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bold Chess Show. I'm your host, Roland, and with me, the international master, Luis Midardi. How are you doing, Luis?
I'm doing very well. I'm, as usual, very happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for being here with us. This is the second part of our course on tactics. We will also cover 20 puzzles like the first episode. And in this episode, we will see lots of elements and different range of themes and patterns that chess players need to be aware of, including pins, forks, discovered attacks, overloaded pieces, and much more. We will switch to your terminal, Master Luis, so you can show us the puzzles and see if our audience can solve these puzzles in real time.
Okay, it sounds great.
All right, great. Let's get started. Very
Okay.
well. We have now our 20 puzzles that Master Luis prepared for us. Thank you, Luis, for preparing such amazing puzzles for us today. As usual, as we have seen in the first episode, we will give some time for the viewers to solve the puzzles. And during this time, I will try to solve these puzzles myself. So that will give ample of time for the viewers to check how every puzzle can be solved before you can show us how it's actually being implemented. Let's get started. So this is our first one. We can see here that in terms of material, we're almost equal. The black king is a bit under pressure here. So we'll need to find a way to increase this pressure somehow. Black is not posing any immediate threats. So this is important for people to know. If black is threatening anything immediate, there is nothing immediate at the moment. So we'll see how we can go about it. The first thing in this position, we need to scan for sacrifices, especially when the king is totally exposed like the black king. So we'll start with the queen sacrifice, queen to f6. And then when we capture the queen by the knight to f6, then we have a follow-up with the bishop. And the question is, will this deliver a checkmate? I think it would.
Yes.
The rook cannot block the attack, and the queen is too far away.
Yes. This wasn't super difficult. In this case, the first candidate move should be queen takes f6, as is the almost only check in the position after queen takes f6, and takes f6, bishop takes f6, checkmate. Very
That
good.
would be a checkmate. It's a very nice puzzle. This is a very good pattern for many people to know that when the king is totally exposed, it's okay to scan for sacrifices. It's sometimes we can find a very nice checkmate pattern when that happens.
Okay, let's go with the next one. Okay, yeah, this one is a bit tricky. Well, not super tricky, but it's a bit more difficult than the first one. So
very well. Okay. So the first step is we need to check first if black is threatening anything immediate. Apart from attacking our knight, I don't see anything immediate at the moment. Our knight is under attack, and if we don't do anything, the knight will be lost completely, the knight at e4.
Yeah.
So we cannot just play a calm move and expect black just to do nothing. We have somehow to figure out a way to attack the king, probably, or to gain some kind of material. Let's see what we can do here. If the first step, I'm trying to scan for sacrifices, see if I can do anything. So the first move is coming to my mind is if we eat the pawn at h7, and then the king, if he captures back, we have a double check with the knight. Then he can roll back again. And if he rolled back to the h8 square, then we have a fork, but the rook is guarding that fork at f7. So this might not be a good idea to sacrifice the rook, unless if there is something else I'm not seeing. If we move the knight to f6 afterwards, then we will be able to but then the king can escape to h6, and then what would be the follow-up? Maybe queen to h3 as a follow-up, and
Yes. Well, let me help the viewers a bit. If I'm not mistaken, you're calculating this line.
yes, I'm calculating this line, and then the king escaped here to h6, and now the
5.
true.
Position gets a bit complicated, right?
That's very complicated. Yeah, that's very complicated. And the rook is blocking the path. If there was no rook, maybe we can follow up with f4, and maybe we can find something out. Yeah, this is complicated. It might be something much simpler than this. Let's calculate a much simpler line. Just a simple fork by moving the knight from e4 to g5. Just as simple as that. We are threatening to eat the pawn. We are threatening a fork, a potential fork if the knight moves, because the knight is currently guarding this fork at f7. And then black can simply move the pawn. And if that happens, we have another fork at e6. So, yes. So, and the other knight is pinned already, which is the knight, I'm talking about the knight at e7. This knight is pinned. It cannot move, because if it moves, we will have a fork between the queen and the king. And then the pawn is also under attack. It seems to be a valid move.
Okay. Yeah, 95 is, well, interesting at least, but there is a stronger move here. After 95, I guess black has to defend against the checkmate. So maybe something like, I'll say, I'm not completely sure, honestly, if it's the best move, but 976, this is at least complicated. It's true that you have this fork.
Yes, I have a nice
but
fork here.
Black is up 2 pieces right now, so it's not so clear. And okay, you also have this check, but king g8, and there is no clear checkmate for white. But instead of 95, it's much stronger if we play knight f6, because if black takes, we have queen a7 checkmate.
True.
And basically, whatever black plays, we can either play rook h7 or queen h7, giving checkmate already. So it's very easy to start calculating rook takes h7 check. And actually, when I saw this puzzle, I started by calculating rook h7 check, and I spent a few seconds. I saw it was very complicated, but actually it was much easier. Many times, if we reverse the order of the moves we are calculating, in this case, instead of calculating rook takes h7, king takes h7, and knight f6, followed by queen h7, we start by playing knight f6. Things are much easier, and in this case, it's going to be made, I think, no matter what black plays, right?
Absolutely. It's a very nice. We have a nice spin, and then we have also this kind of double attack on the pawn at h7. It's very interesting combination, and players can also, get lost in some other not so optimal lines as you have mentioned.
Okay, here. Okay, this is white to move. I just give a clue. Well, candidate moves, check the checks, white to move.
Very well. So what is black threatening here? Pretty much nothing. There is no immediate threat apart from pinning this pawn to the queen. If we move the queen, he might eat the pawn, and there is nothing immediate apart from that. The king is exposed, and we might be able to do something about it. The first move that is coming to my mind is
Yes. Go checks.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm trying to
Good
see if
timing moves.
this knight if I need to remove this knight, because the only thing that is preventing me from the first pattern I'm thinking about here is moving the rook from f1 to f8, and this pattern is not possible because of the knight at g7. So I do
That's true.
have a troublesome piece here. If I eat the pawn at h7 and I check the king can just simply eat it, and I don't really have a clear follow-up here because the square at e4 is guarded already.
Yeah.
So we need to think of something else. If we sacrifice the queen at e8, then we can follow up with the rook from f1 to f8. This can be promising, and if he do nothing, if he cannot do anything, he should do something. I mean, he should eat the queen. If he didn't capture the queen, it's not going to work out. Yes, I think
Yes,
this is the line.
super strong. Knight c8, rook f8 mate, and white wins.
Absolutely.
Okay, here. Position, well, looks
like
very good for white, I think.
It's very good for white. Yes, very good for white. Is black threatening anything? He's threatening queen to d2 check, but then there is not much of clear follow-up for black if he were to move. So we are free actually to think clearly here what we can do. The first move that's coming to my mind is rook to b1 with a check, and then the king has to go to a8. That's the only move. He cannot block with the queen, of course. And then we can continue with rook to c8 check.
Okay.
And if he takes, we will take the queen. We are winning in this position.
Yes, this is completely winning.
But is there something better?
Yes, this is completely winning. I mean, in a real game, this is enough. I think.
But there is something else.
Queen takes e4 might be even stronger, as
okay,
it's almost made. Black has to give up the queen with queen d5, and you just take it. And I mean,
so that's the difference is that we are up a pawn here. It's compared to this variation.
Queen, right?
Yeah,
I mean a rook. Sorry, yeah, like
a
if
pawn.
you go rook c8.
Yes, compared to the other variation, we are up. We are extra. We managed to capture one extra pawn.
No, and also that you didn't lose the rook. Here you had to sacrifice the rook to take his queen. However, if you go queen takes e4 check, and he blocks, you take his queen for free and.
Oh yes, it's yeah.
I mean, here you have two rooks.
We are up a rook and a pawn. Yes, this is totally
still
much stronger.
There were different ways. It's kind of a matter of taste. In the game, actually, e7 was played. That is probably
It's completely different. Yes.
the most difficult one. But after queen takes e5, white has e8. And rook takes d8, rook takes e5, white is
which leads to the same almost similar.
Basically, we have like different motifs here. It's very important in some of the lines that the queen is ping. So, for example, in case of e7, there is no queen d2 because of the ping. So yeah, basically, okay, white is completely winning here. So yeah, very good. I mean, here the material is not so important. The king being very weak is the important factor here, and you spotted very well.
Amazing, okay. Very good puzzle. So
this one is a bit different. Is black to move? Here it's a game where I was honestly completely lost. I was playing black and I managed to save a draw. My opponent, who was a FIDE master, just played c7. This was, I think, the 6th hour of game or something like that. I mean, it was move, 67. There was time control. We were under time pressure. It was a very tense and very long game. So it's normal that we both made mistakes. But here c7 was a big mistake. How can black take advantage of white's last move?
So this is like a stalemate kind of situation you are trying to impose. I see.
Yes.
All right, a forced stalemate. Let's see. So black currently can only move the king to d7. So somehow that has to be blocked. And the only way for that to be blocked at the moment is we start with rook to b4. First with a check. That's the most forcing move.
Yeah.
And then the white king has a few options. He has a6, a7, and c6. And of course, he has c5 as well. Okay, so he has a bunch of options. But I think c5 is very passive, and we can just go to, we can slide the rook to b7 maybe, and threaten to eat the pawn.
Okay,
along these lines, but it's not really clear how is it possible to force a stalemate here. Another solution is to just to eat the pawn. We capture the pawn at d3.
Yes.
We just sacrifice the whole thing, and then white should not capture back.
Exactly. White.
It's over. The best move would
take back.
Yeah, this would be over.
And now, actually, white moved the rook. The game went on a little bit, but the end game now, even being 2 pawns down, it's a draw. Besides, black still has some stalemate resources. I'm not sure how the game continued, like the whole sequence, but I remember at some point, for example, my opponent played something like rook c6, and I went rook d6, and we kept moving on, and basically, finally, somehow I managed to win. Actually, I think the game was rook c5, rook d5, but okay. What I mean is, the stalemate trick gave me half a point. Yeah.
Do you think, Master Luis, if a computer is playing with white, he can somehow squeeze a win here with the most accurate moves?
No, the position is a draw with good play, but of course, maybe if black doesn't defend well, because he's still 2 pawns down. But if I'm not mistaken, the position is, objectively speaking, a draw. It's a theoretical rook endgame where with these 2 pawns it's usually very difficult to win.
For them to promote. Even if white gave up on the pawn at c7, if he gave up on this pawn completely and just he moved the king maybe to a7, for example.
Actually, the game ended with this endgame. Let me show my point. For example, although the game was not exactly like this, but imagine rook c2, for example, we give a check. If white blocks, we trade rooks and this is stalemate, so white goes king a7, and after something like rook d1, he plays, imagine, rook h2, for example, right? So at some point we're going to take on c7, and he has this extra pawn. The game was something similar to this line, and I'm not sure about the move order, but after rook c1, a6, king takes c7, we get the kind of position that we got in the game. And the problem for the king is that it cannot go to the b file so easily. So yeah, black managed to hold. I think
we played yes, very interesting
along these lines, and here I just waited with my rook on the c file, so he was not able to push my king to the d file and play king b7 and promote. So he tried a bit, but I think my opponent, who was also a very strong player, also knew that this was a theoretical draw. So yeah, like we played a few
Absolutely.
moves
It
and
feels that
we
white
agreed
might win.
to
It
a draw.
feels, but
Yes.
practically speaking, it's
Actually, I'm kind of friend with this opponent, and I remember, and I was remembering during the game that he had played this same game like 2-3 years before this game, and he kept playing against a weaker player, and he managed to win with white. And I was thinking, okay, I completely know how to make a draw. I am sure I'll make it, but I hope he doesn't have me like another 50 moves, and I had to defend here for 1 hour. But if Black
true.
knows how to do it, it's not difficult to make a draw. Basically, in this case, Black just has to move the rook in the c file,
And
and there
keep the
is no
king
way.
frozen at
Yes, in case White gives this check, you go king c8. He waits, you wait, and there is no way to go king b7 or king b8 to promote. So yeah, basically White just waits with the rook on the c file, and it should be an easy draw.
very nice. Very nice.
Okay, here. Okay, actually this is another game I played. I was completely lost here, but somehow my opponent was very careless, and a couple of moves earlier I blundered it, and here he just played 94. My opponent, who is also a very strong player actually, at the time we played, I think he was the world champion, the Blitz world champion under 16 or under 14. I know he was okay around
Very good.
2200 figure rating, but very strong player, one of the most promising junior players in Spain. But here he was careless, as I said, with 94, and White is winning, even being a queen down here. How to play as White?
So I'm trying first to see what was the point of this move, knight to d4, and I can't figure out what is the main objective of this move. I mean, he wants to exchange the bishop at b3. Is that the idea here?
I guess it was his idea,
But I don't think this is like powerful enough. I mean, it was
yeah, I
not
agree.
really the. I wouldn't think of d4 in this position at all, like from the start. But anyway, focusing on the puzzle itself, um, what can we do here? Can we would doubling the rook at e3 would be a good idea? Then what is he supposed to do? How can he prevent me from sliding the rook from e3 to e8? What would be Black's move here? How can he prevent that? If he moves the queen to maybe somewhere, then I'm going to deliver a check anyway. Yes, I'm calculating this line, rook to e3, and I want to see how Black is going to defend the bank rank. What is the solution here?
There is no solution here.
There is
Yeah,
there is no
it was
solution.
as simple as that. I was quite lucky here. I think he got, I don't know, too confident because of his very good position, but what he should have done was to, well, in the position his knight was on c6, but basically the point, many times when you are winning, you have to ask yourself, how can I lose this position? And of course, like, don't do it, just ask yourself. So in this case, the only problem Black might have at some point is the back rank. So by playing, for example, a move like h5, he would have won probably easily. But he allowed me to go rook d3.
He just
And now,
has no
no matter
time, no time.
what he
I
plays,
was thinking of just sacrificing the bishop completely here by moving it to e7. Yeah, this is the line I was calculating
yes,
it.
but
And then what can we make out of this position? It's very difficult
no,
for Black. He
it's
cannot,
still the
yeah.
same. He's gonna lose the queen
Same
in the game.
problem, yeah.
The game lasted a couple of moves with knight takes b3, rook e8, but okay. Knight d2 check in c1, and now we are gonna, well, I'm gonna take his queen, his knight, and I'll be an exchange up in some endgame. I think he resigned here, but something like, let's say, king g8, and, well, let's take the queen and play
Yeah,
king takes
but the
d2, for
knight is
example, which is
lost.
completely
Yes,
winning.
this is completely winning. We have a passed pawn at c2 as well. The c file is open for us. At some point, I think we can, if we capture the pawn at b7, we should be in a very good position here. Yes.
And it's saying and 2 pawns up, no problems. White should be easily winning, I think.
Very nice.
Okay, here is white to move. Again, it's a game I played a few years ago. It's not super difficult, but still a good example.
It requires accurate play here. So
Yes.
what is black threatening in this position? Pretty much nothing. I don't see any immediate threat. He can exchange the knight with his bishop, but that's pretty much it. The pawn is very well guarded at g5. There is no threat on that. His knight is totally under pressure. He cannot move it easily. Very well. So what can we do to improve this position even further?
Yeah, I mean, we have to.
Yeah, I'm thinking
calculate
of
the forcing moves.
Yes, trying to see if the first lines coming to my mind is knight to f6. This is the line I'm currently calculating. I'm trying to see if we can do anything with this line. The idea is, yes, this line. He has to capture or else his rook will be lost. So the idea, would he capture with the bishop or with the knight? If he did it with the knight, then we can capture back with the pawn first, and then when he captured back with the bishop, we can capture the pawn at h5.
Very good.
And now we have.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, the pawn. It's okay.
I gave you a clue. No, actually, this is even stronger.
This is even stronger. Okay.
Yes, because
there is also another pin. There is also another pin. Yes,
so here we have two
or
pins.
this one. And there's this line to calculate as well.
We can take on h5. And you're right. This
can be very strong. Yeah, but the other one is better. Yes, because it's more forcing. We are arriving with a check.
It's a check. We are attacking the bishop. So his only move, but everything is losing. But his only move is something like
he has to block back. He has to block back, and
many moves are winning. The most forcing line, and the first one we should calculate is rook takes d7, king takes d7. We bring another piece to the attack. Now he has to either go to the h file, either king h7 or king h8, where we have queen h5 checkmate, for example, like this, or he goes king f8, but then we can mate with bishop h6, right?
Very nice. So, very nice combination.
This was the game. Well, I went knight f6 and something like this happened. I'm not sure at which point my opponent resigned it, but I think already here he realized it. Well, it was over. If he moves the king, well, I can continue attack, but he's also losing the bishop, so yeah. Black is completely lost here.
Absolutely. It's very nice.
Okay, in this position, as I want to be honest, I'll say black is not winning, but it's still a nice puzzle. I'm gonna explain myself in a moment. But I wanted to show the puzzle from here because my opponent played 96 and he offered me a draw. And I was very surprised that he offered me a draw because, well, he was lower rated, but actually I realized, okay, he calculated bishop takes d6, queen takes d6, queen takes d6, rook takes d6, and he's doing fine. In that position, actually, he's probably better as my pawn structure is broken, right? But, okay, I realized I had some idea here. So I took very quick to kind of not allow him to think a lot. And in this position, he has a very nice move, but he just took on d6, which is terrible. And now is when the puzzle comes. Black to move and win. How would you play?
Yeah, this is a classical pattern. I have seen this a pattern in some puzzles, but different pieces with different variations. Is basically you have this kind of in-between move, something like rook to e1.
Yes.
You deliver an in-between move, and then he has to react to this move somehow, either by capturing the rook or by escape. He cannot escape
Yeah,
with
in
the
this
king. In this
case,
case,
cannot escape.
this is not possible.
So he has
He
to
has
take
to capture, and his
the
queen
queen
is
d6.
lost, and so is the game.
And we are kind of lucky, of course, I realized it for that, but
Because of the
there is
bishop.
no back rank to it. And I said black is not winning because actually after bishop takes d6, if white plays d3, he's holding. So this intermediate move makes room for the king, and I cannot avoid queen takes d6. So yeah, I should move my queen here. He takes on d6, and the position is around equal.
Is capturing the pawn a move for white in this position at b7?
I don't think so, because as we just took on d6 with the bishop, we have this queen s2. So king
Oh,
f1.
because of that. Yes, I see. There is also
F1
another checkmate pattern there.
Yes,
It's very slow, very slow.
exactly.
It's
So
really a greedy move, but very slow.
yeah, d3 was very, very good,
This was
but
a good
this
move.
was not his idea. Luckily for me, he just took back, and
It's
I went
difficult
on
to
to
find as well. This move is difficult to
yes.
find, especially for someone who is just so focused on having a draw. Probably it's much harder to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, you assume the six. Although I think maybe as he free a draw and I reject it, it might be suspicious, because the truth is that if my plan was to trade queens or to play a normal move, he's doing fine here. So I mean, probably if I was forced to go to this line, I would prefer to accept a draw, because I'm kind of losing a pawn here. And if he calculate other moves here, the first move that comes to mind, as I always say, is the checks, rook e1 check, and yeah, he's completely lost. There's no much to calculate, but yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. This one, okay. White is already a pawn up, so position is very good, but it's always good to to finish the game as soon as possible. In this case, we don't have checkmate, okay, but we have a kind of an easy tactic, but a nice one to increase our advantage. How should white continue here?
Would capturing the pawn at e7 be an idea here?
Well, it's a move that at least we have to calculate. That's for sure.
So if we capture, he needs to capture back with the queen. We capture the rook, and then we are threatening the we're threatening the other pawn to capture it at. Yes, if you can showcase this line.
In the game,
There is two pawns are under attack. Exactly, two pawns under attack. Seems to be a passable move. But is there anything better? That's I think what the puzzle is. Probably you found something better than this.
No. The game was rook a6.
Oh, it was the good move. Okay, I see.
And my opponent already resigned that he's gonna be 3 pawns down, probably, right? As it seems like he's gonna lose either d6 or h5. And yeah, as simple as that. Always candidate moves, and well, we'll find these kind of little tricks, but that help us a lot.
Right. The theme here is removing the defender. We are moving the queen away from defending the rook, and then we have. It was a good idea because we will be up 2 pawns in this position, and this is a very good advantage in many games.
Okay. Here is black to move, and well, white has an extra piece, but his piece lacks some coordination, at least, or some, say white has some problems. How would you continue as as black here.
So what is black threatening exactly here in this position? He cannot capture the rook. He can capture only this pawn at g7. The rest of the pieces are too far away. So capturing the rook with our bishop, bishop takes f2, and then we will be threatening a mate in the next move. What would be white's reply in this position? That's what I'm trying to calculate right now. What is the point here? Can he deliver a check somehow to prevent this from happening? I'm not able to see how he can defend this position very well. Can we just capture the rook at f2?
We could capture the rook, but this is what I wanted to train with this puzzle. I like to insist in candidate moves. Of course, we have to calculate the rook, but I mean we have to calculate that, and it's a good move. But it's very easy many times to miss candidate moves, to not force ourselves to calculate them. And here, the bishop takes f2 seems very good, and actually it is very good.
But there's something better.
Why not to calculate the checks first? And
All right.
well,
I
take
thought
the
of
chance
the queen sacrifice first. If we just sacrifice the queen, yes, at
the only check we
g1,
have is queen takes d1, king takes
yes,
d1,
and then we
and here,
slide with the rook to
yes,
d1.
and that's
He
checkmate.
cannot defend back because the rook is pinned with the bishop. Yeah, this is a surefire way to win the game. Maybe the other variation could have been a winning position, but it's not really the best move.
Yes, bishop takes f2 is, I mean, it's very good. It's a good move, but I like to, like, when we had the chance to finish the games, let's finish them. And
we should finish the game.
Many times it seems over. Finally, it's not that over. We make some mistake. So here, yeah, check the checks, candidate moves, calculate a bit each candidate move, and well, if you have the chance to win by sacrificing a queen, is also always nice.
Very well. Very nice puzzle, though, how we can come up with different lines, and then, there's lots of variations to take into account.
Honestly, this one, I had doubts about including it. Finally, I did it because it was beautiful, I felt, but it's gonna be, well, for our most advanced viewers, I think. At least, like, I think white has checkmate in 7 moves, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not as simple
It's not
as some of
straightforward.
the others. But at the same time, it's a good example of, again, calculating the forcing moves. This position is a mess, I think. We are down a bishop and a pawn, and we better do something. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble, right?
It will be lost. So black right now is threatening our rook. So he just captured, I think, with the pawn at g4. He just captured with it, and he is now asking us if we do nothing, if we don't have any forcing move, he is going to capture this rook, as simple as that, and end the game completely. So we have two options in this position. Either we need to move the rook, or we need to have a very forcing line. Of course, eating the pawn is very slow. Capturing back the pawn at g4 is very, very slow. I don't think this would serve as a puzzle if this was the best move. So we have to either move the rook, or we need to have a very forcing line in mind. The first line that is coming to my mind right now which is the first one. I'm thinking of capturing the pawn at c6. I'm just trying to see, is there anything we can do by capturing this pawn? He has to capture back, or else, I don't know, it's not going to end very well for him if he doesn't capture back. Either with the queen or with the bishop. I think the queen might be a good idea. So he can also attack our rocks, both of our rocks.
No,
he can
actually,
attack them at the same time. But then we have a fork as well with our knight, but this fork is very slow.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, then I mean, here I think black is fine here.
Yeah, black is
The other
totally fine.
candidate move, well, there are other candidate moves. I mean, rook a7, 90, sorry, rook a7 is a check, 96. But one of the
How
candidate moves is, or it should be queen takes b6,
should
which
be
is
this
winning,
one as well.
but
Another sacrifice
it's not simple to calculate.
to calculate.
But as it's very forcing, well, white is like white is winning, and as it's very forcing, kind of only moves we might be able to calculate till the end, although it's not completely obvious. I mean, it's clear black has to take, right?
Yes, he has to take absolutely, and then we need to deliver another check at b3 by moving
Yes.
the rook at b3. He has to go to c7,
Yes.
and then we have another check at a7 if we move the rook to a7. Now here he has to slide back to c8, the only move. I tried to see this line, but then I was not able to see a clear continuity. My brain terminated this line somehow midway. I was like, no, this doesn't look like the way. Now we
No, actually,
can.
this is winning. This is winning.
This is winning.
I think
So we
the
can move the
cleanest
rook again to a8
is
as a follow
yes.
up. He has to push
King
the
c7
king to
is the new move.
c7.
Now we calculate the checks. Rook h7 and d6 mainly as rook b7 is not very worth. Okay, so d6.
Now the pawn
Black's
comes
only
in.
move is to take, right?
Yes, he has to. That's the
And
only way.
now we can take the queen, but okay, we are a queen and bishop and pawn down. We might lose the rook, so very important. We give this check. His only move is king c8, and finally,
And now we capture back
knight
with
takes
a
d6
checkmate.
is made. So this would be one of the lines in the game. Black decided to go the other way with king c5, and white played rook a5, king c4, and white was able to deliver another sacrifice here with rook b4, king takes b4, bishop d2, king c4, and b3 checkmate. So
That's amazing.
this was, of course, very hard, but you see, like, if we calculate the forcing moves, we might be able to calculate very long lines. However, if we have to calculate like 10, 15, 20 moves from the opponent, it's in its position, it's going to be super difficult, right? So yeah, here, well, white won, I think, in very nice style. So here we have an interesting position. My last move was f3 with white. Black played h4, and white is up on x7, but we still have to convert it, right? And well, our pieces are a bit too far, so if we are not careful, knight takes f3, h3, like some attack against our king might come. But it's very important. I repeat this all the time, but many times it's not like the stronger player calculates, 7 moves in a row or something crazy. It's just that the player who wins plays a move that the opponent completely missed. So we have to keep making an effort to calculate what are the candidate moves here for white. And yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll ask you the question. What are the first moves you have to calculate as white here? Like, what are the candidate moves? How could the game continue here?
The first move I'm thinking of is just capturing the knight at d4.
Yeah.
This is the first move.
Okay.
So calculating if the queen, if he captured back, then we can capture the queen, and then do we have time to slide the king to d1? or to e2 to stop that pawn from promoting.
Yes, that's the idea. And
I think we have time. Yes, we have time. I just did the calculations in my head.
sure.
We do have
4.
time.
My last move was a bit tricky because I pointed out my last move was f3 to explain. Probably my opponent had calculated this earlier, but he thought after queen takes d4 he had this check. That
Which he does
it
not.
was winning one move ago, but now as I played f3, the pawn is not on f2, so I have queen g1, and then I'm just a rook up. So he took my queen. I mean, he has no other move. And after rook takes f5, g takes f5, and king g1.
And now we have
move
time to catch up the pawn with the promotion.
be
Yes.
able to stop the pawn. White is completely winning. Later we'll just push the pawn and promote. And of course, if he pushes the pawn, we are just in time to
stop it.
Yes.
Stop it. Yes, indeed. I think the trick here is for players to be able to see that can they stop the pawn from promotion or not. If they figured out that they can, then it's okay.
Yeah.
They can, go ahead with the combination. It's
Exactly.
very nice puzzle. Very interesting.
Okay, here. Okay. In this position, black just played short castle. And it's white to move. I was very surprised here because my opponent was I think woman international master, or yeah, I think so, and she was pretty strong. But short castle is a big mistake because of a very common idea. This is probably something like there is a pattern you have to know to be able to find this tactical motif. But once you know it, it's very useful and it's gonna be very common in your games. What candidate moves come to your mind here?
The two moves were I was trying to create two variations. The first one that came to my attention is the queen to g3 check. That's the first one. The second one is I was trying to see how many squares does this queen actually have to escape to. Then I figured he has a5 and c5. So trapping the queen is not the key point here. It's not possible to trap the queen unless there is something else I'm not seeing. So probably I would go with a check first.
Okay.
At g3. Then he has to escape. And now I need a very good follow-up here in this position.
Yes, I'm not sure if there is a very strong follow-up.
There is a follow-up even.
I think probably this is what she calculated. I might imagine she calculating something like rook b3 and queen goes to h4, 9 moves, the rook joins attack. But this is difficult to calculate. Black has many options, but it's simpler. I'll give you a little clue. Okay, the queens are kind of looking at each other, but there is this knight in the middle, right? So
true. And our queen is protected, but
yes,
his queen is not protected.
Then how can we use that? Is there any discovery with the knight that might be winning for white?
Yes, knight to d5.
Exactly. This happened again. And she decided to give up the queen with c takes d5. And well, we played this position, but okay. Now white is up a queen and we could play. Why should we win? The point is, of course, I mean, I guess you already saw it, but after queen takes d3, you don't have to take the queen yet.
You can just postpone the whole thing. We can deliver a check first.
We give a check, black moves the king. It doesn't matter where the king moves, I think. Let's say king takes e7, we take the queen, and we are completely winning. I don't think it matters a lot, but let's say c takes e3, for example. Knight is not trapped. It can go to f5. It might take the pawn c6. It's not in danger. White is up a piece, so this would be easily winning for white. So yeah, knight d5 is an important move, right? Or a good one.
Very powerful.
Okay. This one is what I think every chess player uh, wants to do. I have tried this this idea or this little trick so many times. I have got bad positions because of misplacing my pieces to get to this pattern. But yeah, okay. In this case, black is able to do it. Black to play and win actually is quicker and faster than it might seem. How can black win here?
I see. So what are our candidate moves? What is black threatening in this position? I don't see anything in immediate danger right off the bat. Then do we have any checks that would give us an advantage? I'm not seeing much of checks, so there is something else going on here. The king is a little bit under pressure due to the bishop and our queen. So
Yes.
what can we do? This bishop, if we can get rid of it, it would be very nice because we have a nice file. We have the D file is interesting. The diagonal as well from A8 to H1 is very interesting for our bishop, but the knight and the bishop are both guarding it, so it's not really something we can expose easily.
Yeah. But I'll ask you the question I always ask. Have you calculated the candidate moves? Have you calculated the checks?
True. So the checks we have at the moment, only one check, which is queen takes c3, which is a queen sacrifice. That's the only check we have.
Okay. Have you calculated it?
Yeah, but I can't come up with a clear follow-up. The only follow-up I can think of is bishop to a3, another check, and then can he block it somehow? I don't think so. Maybe he cannot block it. Yeah, it's not a block.
I don't think so either. Okay.
Yeah.
Queen takes e3 is super strong. Very easy to miss. We have, I repeat, to always calculate checks. Only move is b takes e3, and now we have these super powerful bishops that made quite thin.
I was under the illusion that the knight can somehow block, but no, it was.
No,
there is just an illusion.
Sometimes, even if we take these moves into consideration, we don't expect them to work. So we kind of calculate them, but we don't really calculate them. We just, okay, yeah, okay, take, okay, and okay, he has something, or yeah, he can block, or we think under these general terms, but
or
we
somehow
have to really
like how my brain by mistake completely misplaced the knight and thought that the knight can actually block, but
yes.
when we play the moves in our heads, definitely we will be able to see that the knight cannot do anything here. And if he was on c2, for example, then yes, maybe he could have prevented this from happening.
Then it would be different. But yeah, this is a very, I think, nice mate. Okay, so, oops, sorry. Okay, here, yeah, it's black to move. Actually, I was white in this game. I lost, and I lost very quick. I knew my position was a bit, suspicious at best, but okay. I mean, I'm 2 pawns up, right? And I didn't see a
materialistic perspective.
Yes, I knew it was not going well, and actually my opponent was quite strong. He was like 20. Well, I think at that time he was not that high rated, but at that time he was 25.50. But it was clear he was very strong. Now he's 26.90 or 26.70. I know, like, yeah, but he finished the game very quick. He gave me this check. I played king c2, of course, and here I was hoping, okay, if I trade a few pieces, I know I'm threatening rook takes c1, at some point this check might be useful. Okay, I have d6, like, it's not that clear, but yeah.
There is something else. Yes, the line that came in mind there is a pattern here that is used somehow. Oh, the puzzle starts from here, right?
Yes.
From here, start the puzzle. I was thinking of if you can play back one move before that. Would capturing the pawn with the queen is a viable move?
Okay. I guess we take the queen, only move, right?
Yes, and then we continue with the checks from the rocks.
Yes. Probably king c1.
And then we move again the rook.
Probably
to a1.
Yes, and somehow white managed to escape, but it's almost made, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost made.
And
yeah, that's almost
king d3. Made. King e1 would not be that.
Would not work.
That good, right? Because now.
True.
But yes, white.
It would have been.
Okay. White escapes, but it's almost made. So he included rook a1, king takes e2. And I think at the moment he left the rook on a1, like in 1 second, my brain clicked and I said, okay, yes. That's it. Now queen takes it.
This is... this can be... Now it is...
now I don't have the...
Now you don't have this square anymore.
In this case, this is over. So, yeah, queen takes
it. This is why I thought the puzzle starts from a few moves back.
Yes.
Yeah, but it is the correct way of looking at it, at least.
I might try king d3, but I think in the game I just took the queen and I allowed him to mate me. But yeah, like queen takes b2, king d3, I don't like check, king e2.
It's not going to work out. Yes, it's too much.
Just an example. There are different ways of winning, but this is probably the easiest. Okay. This one is, well, it's not very difficult, but I was playing this position and okay, like I was black, I was a pawn up. Well, the position was this and I was moving around and I kind of wanted to show this because sometimes people say this is a draw, you know, but since it is a draw until like white managed to play a lot of good moves and defend it, it's like a long way. So in this case, I had been playing supposed to be equal position for the last 30 or 40 moves. Finally, my opponent blundering with 95. Probably he was very tired. He was very anxious to make a draw. Like he wanted to trade and try to take my pawn later and just kill the game.
Finish up already.
Again, what's the first candidate move or what are the couple of candidate moves black has in this position? There are not many candidate moves. I mean, but checks.
We can
always.
Checks, we can start with the checks. Indeed, the first check that is coming to my mind, pretty much the first move that came to my attention, is the rook to d4.
Yes, and that's it. My opponent resigned it. My opponent who was 2100 or 2000 rated.
There is no way to escape with the king and protect the knight at the same time, so it's game over.
That's it. Many times it's just a matter to calculate and force us and like get the habit or like calculating the checks, making an effort to see what happens if our opponent gives a check and what checks do we have. And this exercise that it can be very tiring, but we have to make it a lot of times. At some point, it becomes kind of automatic. I mean, your brain looks for checks. So it's easier, but first you have to force yourself to calculate the checks and solve a lot of puzzles, looking for the checks, repeat, and you'll get this, well, kind of this attention to the checks and the forcing moves, and you will find many winning moves just very easily. I mean,
absolutely. Very interesting position. It was drawish, and yet, this is it's a very good lesson. It reminds me some of my past games as well. They ended in a very bad way like this. Like it was a so drawish position, and then you lose your focus for some time. It happens all the time. Very well.
In this
This is
position,
black to move or white to move?
it's gonna be white to move, but I wanted to
White.
show from one move earlier. Is well, sorry, right now it's black to move. Black
Oh,
plays
black to
c4
move.
here, and the path is gonna be after c4. But as well, people can see, we are move 82. It's been a tough game, maybe 5 hours, something like that. Again, this was a drawish position, but I kept playing. I have pawn c7, right? I mean, that's something, but at the same time, his queen is very powerful placed on f4. So if I move my queen, he has this check. But again, he was tired. He was a bit under time pressure, although I think he still had a couple of minutes, but he played c4. What's the first and almost only move we have to calculate here from white?
We can just capture the pawn.
Yes, that's it. As easy as that. Game over. So it seems like I was very lucky, but well, actually I was a bit lucky, but you keep fighting many times. Your opponent is in time travel, your opponent is tired, and these mistakes come. And I repeat, if we make sure we calculate the candidate moves, I'm sure this is a candidate move. And you have to be aware, your opponent has a pawn 7, right? So it seems super easy, but still, this was a classical game. This was one of the most promising junior players in Spain. He just blundered it badly, and I luckily won.
I think the one reason why some high-rated players blunder these positions is they think too much ahead, and then you bring a 1500 to the board, and he will tell you, "Can we just capture this pawn?"
Sure.
as simple as without really going too deep. Probably your opponent was going too deep, like 15 moves ahead, and then down the line he forgot that this bishop is guarding the square at c8.
Completely. It happens many times. I mean, sometimes you are calculating a line very long and you miss a different move. I think in one of the puzzles I saw it earlier, this is a good example. I'm sure, I think it was this one, yes. I'm sure, because I remember my opponent here just castle, and she thought for a while, and she was a strong player. And I'm sure she calculated queen g3 check, king h8, I know, rook b3, queen a5, queen, a long line, but he just missed it on the first move, 95.
True.
So it's important to do a list of candidate moves and make sure we check everything. And sometimes strong players calculate a sequence of moves. Before playing each move, you can take a few seconds to check everything is fine, because here maybe he had calculated this from earlier, but once he's here, if he just takes a moment, to think what's happening here, I'm sure he's gonna find bishop takes c4, and instead he can, I don't think he can play almost any move, or at least there are many moves that are not blundered, right? So yeah, I was a bit lucky here, but
I think in this position just to play bishop to c8, block this pawn completely first.
This is the most solid approach.
And then I will try to see what to do. Maybe I will push the king first forward, and then I will try to navigate with the queen, see if there is any way to go around.
It's very difficult for me, because it's true that I might have this idea of bishop a6 and c8. So with bishop c8, you stop that. And
Stop
if I, for example, give this check, you play king g7. And it's going to be very difficult for me. The issue is I need to activate my queen to somehow try to win. But at the moment I try to activate it, for example, I try, queen d1 to go queen d8 or stuff like that. You have this very annoying check on g3, and you keep giving me a lot of checks. You take my pawns, so it's not going to be easy for white. I think the normal result would be a draw, with white trying to go for attack, but
it might be a drawish
allowing
position.
some perpetual check. Yes. This move is probably the best one for black.
Very interesting one. Great puzzle. Thank you, Master Luis, for including this one. It's such a good one.
Here, okay, yeah. In this position, well, I was playing, kind of an attacking game, or I was trying to do so. My opponent was an international master, very strong player. Maybe he's a bit under pressure here. And honestly, I'm not sure if he missed what happened in the game, or he allowed me to execute a nice mate in this case. I think he missed it, but I'm not sure. He might be well, very nice and allowing me to checkmate him because he realized that he was losing. But yeah, the idea here is after we take on d6, what is a normal move, black 2 with def pawn, and here, if we don't repeat this exercise I'm suggesting everyone to do about like thinking about the candidate moves, it's not that easy because, for example, rook h3, white is threatening checkmate, but black might be able to defend. And okay, at least he survives for now, right? And actually, if we are not careful, I mean, he might take on d4. I know he might bring the queen at some point, not right now, but he might take our pawn f6. So I'll repeat the same question that I keep repeating almost in every position. What do you have to calculate? What is the best move for white in this position?
Right. Rook to h3 is not the move, as we have seen. Taking the pawn at g6, he can just capture back with the rook, and I'm not able to see any follow up from that point onward. Capturing the pawn at h7 with the queen first will result in, and then we slide the rook to h3. Now that I can't see a way for him to block this attack. So yeah. I think it's queen takes h7.
Very good, very good. So king takes h7, rook h3, and that's it, right? Very easy, nice. But very easy if we are calculating what we have to. Otherwise, it's very difficult because a queen sacrifice.
Very easy to miss.
Yes. Okay, this is a bit, let's say, well, it might be a bit more complicated, but still, it's white to move. This is from one of my games. Well, how does white win here? How does the position look like for you?
First of all, is black threatening anything in this position, like anything urgent for us to take into account? I'm not able to see anything totally urgent from black's point of view. From what I can see, that this pawn at e5 is not defended very well. I mean, with the queen and the knight, but if we are already attacking it with two pieces, if we remove the defender, which is the knight, we will be able to attack it and capture it. And he cannot prevent that from happening. But I'm just trying to see, is there anything better than just removing a defender? And if I was playing this game and I was just not really trying to think too much ahead, I will capture the knight first, and then I will capture the pawn. With I would get a pawn here. But then this might not be the puzzle. I think there might be something much stronger.
There is something stronger here. Probably like black's king is in the center. I think he's in trouble. Black's position is still very difficult, but in this position, this king is very weak. In a couple of moves, he might be able to castle. So we have to find, or we have to feel this is the time to do something.
True.
And actually,
another move I'm thinking about is capturing the bishop. Exactly. Yes. We capture the bishop first.
And this is super strong because after king takes d7, the knight takes this pin. So knight takes d5 check. He cannot take because we take his queen. And wherever he moves the king, well, first of all, we already have a pawn and a bishop for the rook. It's not like we are a lot of material down, but now when he moves the king, probably we have different ways of winning, but just taking the knight followed by taking the rook, for example, is going to be very strong. And, well, let's say king c7, for example. Yeah. Knight takes c6, queen takes d5 might be annoying at first if we don't calculate very well, but okay, there is some idea with knight d4, but he can block. But actually, sure. I think knight takes a7 might be winning here. We are threatening the queen. He cannot block. We are threatening the rook. I mean, his position is just terrible. So rook takes d7 is the move. And here I think we need to feel his king is in danger, and it's easy to think about bishop takes e6 and take the pawn e5, which is good, but if we really feel this king is doing very badly here, the queen is misplaced, it's not defending very well, we might try to find something even stronger. And yeah, in this case, rook takes d7 is, I think,
Is the
the
best
strongest
move.
continuation. Yeah.
Very well.
Okay. And yeah, here black just took the a pawn on b2. And yeah, my opponent was very strong. He was a field master. And I was surprised because I had calculated this doesn't work, but when he took it, I thought, okay, maybe I missed something. So I double checked, but what is the first move that comes to mind here for white?
The first move that came to my mind and that I'm trying to calculate the line of it is rook to b1.
Yes, that's the point.
Yeah, as simple as that. Like, how is he supposed to defend the bishop and the queen at the same time? Maybe with the rook to b5 first, and then we have a follow up.
Yes.
The follow up should be.
Well, I played a4.
The pawn to a4.
The idea is that right now his bishop is not ping anymore, and the rook is very well defended on b5, so I need to attack it.
To challenge the rook again.
Exactly. And here, if he goes, let's say, rook b4, we have to keep attacking, keep being annoying with bishop d2.
Exactly.
So the rook is gonna kind of run out of squares in case of rook b3, for example. Now suddenly the rook is trapped. We can maneuver a bit, but basically the idea is he cannot move the bishop because of rook takes b3, so queen c2 followed by knight c1, for example, is gonna attack the rook.
Option.
Or queen c2 followed by bishop c1, also like queens probably. I think in the game he realized that he was doing very badly here, and he decided to just give up the exchange with bishop a3. It took, the game continued, but well, I managed to win it later. But what I wanted to show from here is my advice would be before making a move that is very committal for us. In this case, when he took the pawn on b2, I'm sure he felt after rook b1 he was in trouble. Double check everything, make sure, take your time, because if bishop takes b2 doesn't work, you might just lose the game. So it's better to spend a bit of time, double check everything, calculate it. Yes, like I mean, make completely sure you are not missing anything later. So yeah, in this case, even well, he had like 1 hour 50 minutes in the clock or something like that. I mean, he still had a lot of time, and I guess he either missed a4 or he missed. Well, I guess a4 is the only move you might miss, but yeah, and this is already lost for him because okay, rook b3, as I said, there are different ways of winning here. I'm not sure what I was
The pieces
play.
are overloaded already. It's very difficult.
They look, I mean, a bit. I mean, all the pieces you have developed are on the same file, kind of in white's camp. I can attack the rook this way. I can try to take advantage of the bishop. I mean, there are so many candidate moves. I was thinking now that probably knight c1 was the easy solution here. The rook runs out of squares on the b file, and if you take on c1, I just take on b3. I win on x8 and I'll take the bishop next, so I'll win full rook. So probably for that reason, my opponent here realized things were going badly for him, and he thought he had a better chance playing this way. But he still lost a few moves later. But yeah, I insist in this. If you feel a move is very committal, that if it doesn't work, you might just lose the game. Take your time, make a list of candidate moves, like review everything, make sure everything's fine, because otherwise you'll pay a very high price for it. And yeah, we should try to avoid blunders as much as I can.
Absolutely. Very good puzzle, and the outcome of it as well is very interesting. It teaches players how to coordinate all their pieces to keep that pin alive and eventually to convert it into a completely winning position. Very interesting, Master Luis. Thank you so much for presenting us yet another 20 puzzles that are selected carefully, not just any kind of random puzzles that we see online. These puzzles are carefully selected to feature multiple elements and to give you the best possible training in as little time. But in mere one hour, you are able to experience so many themes and checkmate patterns. This is something that we don't see often in online platforms where people just play one puzzle after another without any context, without actually understanding why this is the best move in a specific position. We would like to remind the viewers that this is part 2 of our course. If you haven't watched part 1, please make sure you do so. We still have part 3 coming up next week. It would be very good for all the players to check all the 3 parts and get the maximum benefit out of this course. We also have a full academy at boltchess.com that covers everything you need, from openings to end games to a full tactics course with over 53 different themes and puzzles for you to solve. We are also preparing packages of over 1,000 puzzles for people who are joining our course and would like to maximize on their tactical skills and improve their rating and games. What would you like, Master Luis, to tell our viewers at the end of the video? One last advice when it comes to chess tactics, something that they can take home after watching this video.
Check the checks. I know. Tactics decide most of the games, especially at not high professional level, even at high professional level, but take care of it. Try to improve your calculation, work on it. When you watch these videos, well, if you got here, you already did a great job, but when you watch these videos, try to solve the positions by yourself. Pause the video if you need it, take your time, solve the puzzle, compare with our solutions, and that's gonna maximize the benefit you take from this course.
Very well. Here you go, guys. You heard it from Master Luis himself on how you can maximize your results when solving chess tactics. We will see you next week and another 20 puzzles. Till next time, happy playing.
Yeah. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Master Luis. We'll see you soon. Goodbye. My pleasure.